Yep, we were in Indianapolis, Colts against the Steelers, and it was just a great time for me. Marvin Harrison and I got our Hall of Fame rings, and I was able to reconnect with two franchises that were very, very special to me. The Pittsburgh Steelers, where I got my start in professional football, the Rooney family, and Chuck Noll, who just were so great in getting me started. And then, of course, Indianapolis, the Irsay family, and our Super Bowl 41 team. So it was just a special, special time. Marvin Harrison and I getting Hall of Fame rings and being able to reconnect with those people. Had a wonderful Thanksgiving, myself and my family. But now we're back here looking forward to these Sunday slate of games, and we've got some fun ones coming up. First of all, Cardinals and the Falcons. I think it's going to be a game that tells us a lot about Atlanta. Arizona needs to win. It's almost a desperation do or die game for them, but Atlanta's the highest scoring team in the league. How will they handle the November, December pressure? How will they handle the Arizona blitzing defense? We'll see what Matt Ryan and his offense has in store, but I'm really looking forward to that game. Also, I want to see the Miami Dolphins. Now, they're playing the 49ers, a game they should win, but they have crept back into the race. They're in the wild card hunt. Can they take care of business, do what they should do, win a game that they should win, and keep going? Then in our late games, we've got the Buccaneers hosting the Seattle Seahawks, and I see this as a tough game for the Seahawks. In fact, it's my upset special. Seattle's had three really emotional games, big wins, playing on Monday night against Buffalo, going across country, playing a game in New England where they played great, then having to come back and play against Philadelphia. Now they're going on the road, another long trip in a game that they should win. They're favored to win, but I like the way Tampa is playing. I think that Jameis Winston is going to be able to attack the Seattle defense, and I see the Buccaneers pulling off an upset today. The other late game that should be great and tell us a lot is the Panthers and the Raiders. Oakland playing hot football right now. They're in first place. They've got a chance to maintain their lead. Carolina, it'll be very difficult traveling without Luke Kuechly playing. It is going to be difficult for them, but we'll see how Oakland responds. If they can hold on to first place, that will tell us a lot of what's going to transpire in our game, Chiefs and Broncos tonight. And again, another big game. Tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have all the story for you on all these games, but also tell you what to watch for in that Chiefs-Broncos game, some things that you can be alerted to. Also, just want to just give some remembrance to Sean Taylor. This is the anniversary of Sean Taylor's death. Very, very tragic situation and a time that I can remember when I was coaching. It just shocked me that some people who actually worked on his house and did the work there kind of took advantage of that and came in and murdered Sean Taylor. So our hearts go out to his family and all the Washington family as well, and we miss Sean Taylor a lot. I know a lot of people remembering this on this 9th anniversary of that day. So I want to scroll back now and get to your questions. We had some great football over the Thanksgiving day. We got some great football to look forward to. Let's see what you guys are thinking now. Got a quick question from Eric asking, do I think the Raiders will win today? And I've been one who's kind of doubted the Raiders. I haven't thought their defense was championship caliber. They've got a tremendous offense. They definitely can put points on the board. They're winning. But I've seen improvements in that defense. Khalil Mack and those guys are stepping forward. So I like the Raiders to win today. I think they will have too much offense for Carolina, and I think they'll stay in first place. Here's a question from Tom, not on today's activity, but he said, who was your most frustrating player to coach? And fortunately, I had a lot of good players. I didn't have guys who were problematic, who were tough, who were frustrating. I had some guys that I thought could have given us a little bit more, done a little bit more with their talent, but I never had anybody who didn't really buy into what we were trying to do. So I wouldn't say I had a frustrating player over the course of my career. Question, let me see who else I can hit up here as we're scrolling through. Michael asks on our game, who will be the better quarterback tonight, Alex Smith or Trevor Siemian? And I'll tell you what, both the quarterbacks need to step up, but I think it's going to be the running games that are going to be the key. I think Alex Smith will bounce back and have a big game. He's going to have to do more than Trevor Siemian's going to have to do in order for his team to win. So I like Alex Smith to play a little bit better tonight. Not saying they're going to win, but I think Smith will play better. I hope this is a friend of mine, Armando Hernandez. And this could be Armando from Tampa, who is my neighbor, or it could be another Armando Hernandez. But he asks, how far will Dallas really go? Dallas has a very good football team. They're playing tremendous football, but I don't see a dominant team in the whole NFL. I didn't see New England being dominant when they only had one loss. I don't see Dallas being dominant. I see them being very good. So for Dallas to lose in the playoffs, it would not surprise me. I think they have to be the favorite in the NFC right now, but there are a number of teams that could beat them. In a one-game knockout, especially with a rookie quarterback, it could happen. I said on television, it would not surprise me if Dallas goes to the Super Bowl. They can go all the way to the Super Bowl. They've got that type of team. But it also wouldn't surprise me if someone beat them in the playoffs. Brian asks, who wins the NFC North? And I said on Thanksgiving Day, the winner of that game, Minnesota and Detroit, would win the North. Right now, Minnesota is down. Detroit has what amounts to a 2-game lead because they have the tiebreakers. So Detroit, if they win 3 games out of their final 5, then Minnesota would have to win all 5 to win the division. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Green Bay gets back in it. I think Detroit is going to win the NFC North. Tom says, let's go Bucks. And I'm with you, Tom. I just have a good feeling about this game. Seattle has an excellent football team. They're playing good football. But on the road, in the heat, long trip, after having 3 emotional games, I think this is a time when they can catch Seattle off guard. I like the Bucks to win that game. Tim says, I was at the Colts game on Thanksgiving night. It was a special night, Tim. Great honor for Marvin Harrison and me. It was great to see everyone there. I really thought that the Colts, in spite of not having Andrew Luck, had a chance to win that ball game. If they pushed 2 balls in from the 1-yard line, it's a completely different game. But they couldn't do it. Pittsburgh took advantage of it, and that's why Pittsburgh is in the playoff hunt. Edgar asks, who wins today, Chargers or the Texans, and why? You know what? If the Chargers are healthy, they'll give the Texans all they can handle. Texans have a little cushion now. They realize it's not a must-win game. They look like they're going to win their division. But the Chargers have talent. They can score points. I think the Texans win it, but it wouldn't surprise me. I think the Texans will win based on their defense. Christian asks, who do you believe is the best team in the NFL right now? And that is a very difficult question. I like Seattle. I like Dallas. I like New England. I've kind of voted them as my top 3 all year. I think they all have flaws. And right now, Dallas is playing the best football. What they did on Thanksgiving Day to a very good Washington team was pretty incredible. So I'm going to say at this moment, playing the best right now is the Dallas Cowboys. Crystal says, good morning from Colorado, and we are excited to have your Broncos on this Sunday night. Think it's going to be a big game, and we're excited to have it. Daniel asked, do I think Eli has a big day against the Browns? I really think they'll work on their running game. Cleveland does not have a good defense. Giants need to get their run game going. I think that's how they win it. I think Eli will be efficient. I think he'll throw a couple of touchdown passes, but I don't think you'll see a 40-pass day or a 350-yard passing day. I think it'll be more concentration by the Giants on getting the running game going. Benjamin asks about Broncos or KC. I can't give you my pick until later on tonight. But we can tell you it should be a great game. I think whoever gets their running game going the best will win this game. Here's a question. New Orleans Saints against the Rams. Big game for the Saints. They're still in it mathematically. Rams are still in it mathematically. I think the team that loses can kiss their faint playoff hopes goodbye. I like the Saints to win this one. I think they'll score enough points that the Rams will not be able to handle them. Douglas asks, since you're a former Viking assistant coach, how do you see them ending the season? What's wrong with their defense? I think they're going to end up probably 9-7, something like that. Their defense is a good defense. It's not an overwhelming defense. And the fact that they're having so much trouble scoring, it just is putting so much pressure on that defense to be perfect. Therefore, they're taking some gambles, doing things out of maybe character, and they're having a tough time holding up. But they're growing, they're building. I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. I thought they had to win on Thursday in Detroit if they were going to win the division. And I think they're going to end up being a 9-7 team that just misses the playoffs. Greg asked this, I know you don't want to talk about the Jags, but what's up with them? I've been over to the Jags complex a couple of times. I really love Coach Bradley and what they're doing. I love some of their young players, but they've got to get more consistent on offense. Blake Bortles has to become a better player, more consistent player. They've got offensive talent at the receiver positions, at the running back positions. Defensively, they're not quite there yet, but they should definitely have more than 2 wins. And I like where they are personnel-wise. Don't know what's going to happen. If they end up having a 3-13 year, it probably will make a change in coaching, and then that's going to be a step backwards. So I just wish they'd have a little more success, because I really do think they've got some people there who you can build with and win with. Danny asks, what do my Panthers need to get better? And I think they just have to get back to their winning formula. Running the ball, pounding it, playing solid physical offense. I know Cam Newton's the MVP. I know they've got some dangerous receivers, but they've got to utilize their running game. And defensively, to me, their front seven has to step up. That's what the strength of their team was last year. They could put pressure on the passer. They could stop the run with 7 guys. They've got to play better defensively, in my opinion. A lot of fantasy football questions that I really don't have the answers to. Douglas asks, again, talk about the Vikings' troubles. Well, their troubles are really in one place, their offensive line. They're not able to open up holes. They probably have the lowest rushing average in the league, average per carry. They haven't been able to protect Sam Bradford to allow him to throw balls up the field. That's what's got to get better. They've got a great receiver in Stephon Diggs. They don't have that great running back, but they've got serviceable running backs. They've got a decent quarterback. They've got a much better than average defense. They've got a good return games and special teams. Offensive line is where they're struggling right now. A couple of people say to shout them out. I can't give shout outs. I'm answering questions here, but we definitely appreciate your thoughts. Do I think, here's Brian asking, do I think Dallas can make it to the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott as their quarterback? I absolutely do. Now, I'm not predicting that they're going to go. I'm not saying they're going to get there. But the way that I've seen him play and the way that they're playing football, taking the clock down, running plays that are very, very efficient and effective. He's been poised. He's not turning the ball over. Their defense isn't great, but what they're doing is they're making teams go the long route and holding people to field goals in the red zone. If they continue to play that way, they can beat anybody in the NFC. Will that happen? I'm not sure. It's the type of team as well, because their defense is not dominant. They could have a one-game situation where someone comes in and gets hot and puts up 24 points and wins the ball game. So I like where they are. I think they're an outstanding team. I think they'd have to be the favorite in the NFC right now, but I don't know that they're going to go. A lot more questions about the Cowboys. And here's one question from Chris. Is Rodney Harrison a Hall of Famer? And I think he should be. But here's the problem. For some reason, the voters have not valued the strong safety position. Kenny Houston is the last safety who's been elected into the Hall of Fame, and that was over 20 years ago. Rodney Harrison, when you look at sacks, interceptions, big plays, Super Bowl rings, definitely belongs. John Lynch, my former player, who's been to a bunch of Pro Bowls, has a Super Bowl ring, definitely belongs. My old roommate, Donnie Shell, 4 Super Bowl rings, 5 straight Pro Bowls, all-decade team, 50 interceptions, 19 fumble recoveries, 69 takeaways, and the captain of a Super Bowl unit, 4 Super Bowl rings. He definitely belongs. These guys, Kenny Easley is another safety who belongs. I don't know what has happened to keep all these safeties out of the Hall of Fame, but they definitely should be there. Travis asks, can the Packers defense get it together? I really don't think so. Because of the injuries, they're struggling. They're struggling putting pressure on the passer. They're struggling in coverage. And it isn't the defensive coordinator. It isn't the players and their will to win. It's they just don't have enough personnel right now. And I don't think the Packers make the playoffs. This is Ken Gear asks, I have Raiders versus Seahawks in the Super Bowl. How do you measure those two teams? It would be a very good game. Offense of the Raiders against the defense of Seattle. I think it'd be awesome. I think it could happen. Both of those teams will be in the hunt, but very, very long ways to go before we get to the Super Bowl. Harold is asking, what's up with the Bengals? And again, now they've got some injuries that they're going to have to overcome. But even before the injuries, A.J. Green and Giovanni Bernard last week, they still weren't playing the type of football, especially on defense, that we're used to seeing from Cincinnati. Their defensive front, I think those guys can play better than that. And, they have 3 wins right now, and they're a good football team. They're better than that, but they aren't playing better than that. Kevin asks, will the Giants go to the playoffs? And I do think they have a chance to be a playoff team. I think they will go. I like the fact that Eli Manning is their quarterback, so you're going to get consistent play down the stretch. But more than anything, their defense is playing so much better. They're making plays. So I like them not to catch Dallas, but to be a wild card team. Sammy asks, will the Browns win today against the Giants? I don't believe so. I'm not sure where the Browns are going to get their first win, but I don't think it will come today. I'm going to scroll for a couple more questions. Chris says the Raiders cannot beat New England. I'm sorry about that. The Raiders can beat New England. They can put up enough points to win. Now, they'll have a struggle controlling Tom Brady and containing him with that defense, but I think they could win a high-scoring game. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more and see if I can get one last question. All right, I'm gonna answer this for Chip. Do you think the Browns could repeat? Or excuse me, the Broncos could repeat? And yes, I do. But they're going to have to get better running game, more consistent running, and Trevor Siemian is going to have to get back to the form that he showed in September and October. Now, part of that was because they were running effectively. They could throw play-action passes on first down. Their defense is getting healthy, and they can play well enough on defense to win, but they've got to get that offense rolling. Do I think it will happen? I don't think they're the best team in the AFC right now, but it could. And then last question, someone asked, when are you coming back to coach the Colts? And I'll have to say I appreciate you wanting me there, but I have a great job at NBC. I love it here, and as much as I love the Colts, I will not be back to coach them. So thanks to everybody for tuning in to us. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to tonight. Watch us 7 o'clock tonight, Eastern Time. We'll have all the highlights of the early games as well as all the information you need to be ready for Broncos and Chiefs tonight on NBC Sunday Night Football. Thanks for tuning in with us on the Facebook page.